Oh, hello there. Welcome to a special episode of I Love This, You Should Too, a podcast with me, Samantha, and him, Indy. Hi, Indy.
Hello. You seem so excited to be here.
I am excited to be here.
Oh, that's a rarity, but today's special. Why, Samantha?
Because it's the most wonderful weekend of the year coming up.
Christmas.
Nope. The Edmonton Folk Music Festival.
Oh, so I like how I'm acting like I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Like I haven't just been prepping for this. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. I think this will be a one-off episode. We might double back in a couple of weeks, but since both of us are attending the Edmonton Folk Music Festival in 2023, we thought we'd do a little preview episode, so then people who are local listening to this might get some insight and have a better idea of what they might want to see. And if you aren't local, you can just hear about some good musical acts. We'll each have a few suggestions and maybe play some of their music, and then maybe we'll report back in a couple of weeks. What do you think about that?
That sounds good.
We can try. No guarantees.
No guarantees.
But
I think we have
might,
bigger and better things to do. But
we might try to record an episode from there.
Yeah, maybe
but
just
we'll see
some clips.
what we're allowed to record and that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Anyways, that can wait. Today, what we are going to do is suggest some artists for you to see. But before we get into that, Sam, how often have you been going to Folk Fest?
So I've been going to the Edmonton Folk Fest since I was probably about 3 or 4. My parents have always taken me, and it's a big weekend of hanging out with my family, which is really nice. And Indy, how many times have you been now?
That's a good question. How many years have we been together? So I guess there was COVID years, so there's no Folk Fest there.
So probably 5?
I've been every year since we've been together.
Yes.
First, we started out volunteering, and we were in the beer gardens crew.
Yes.
And how this festival works is it's almost all run by volunteers.
Yeah.
And those volunteers, your reward is you get to go to the rest of the festival after putting your hours in. And you get really good food and stuff, too.
Yeah.
And after parties, which we'll probably talk a little bit about.
Absolutely. The festival is an amazing group of volunteers, and we were very, very lucky to get the benefits of volunteering by working in the beer gardens. It's definitely a lot of work, but it's worth it, I think, for all the perks.
So what do you think? Are you ready? Should we get into what we are most excited for this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So Indy and I have picked 4 musical picks each, and then maybe some honorable mentions, because there's always a lot of really amazing stuff at Folk Fest. So Indy, do you want to go first?
So maybe the act I am most excited to see is one called Chawa. That's Chawa, and they are a kind of a funk band based out of New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. The name Chawa is slang meaning we're coming or here we come. And their frontman's name is Honey Bannister, which is kind of the coolest name ever.
Honey Bannister. That's a good name.
And he is known for dressing in Mardi Gras Indian clothing during performances. And first I'd think, what is Mardi Gras Indian? Is that something specific? And yes, it is. And it is this entire culture that I tried to read about and learn. And I don't know how I'm going to talk about it so quick here. So the very quick answer is they are Mardi Gras tribes, they call themselves. And their traditions honor the friendships between Indigenous Americans and the Black community going all the way back to slavery. And after Reconstruction, this type of dress, which is heavily influenced by Indigenous American dress, but then kind of filtered through Louisiana as well. And it's become more representative of the African community who takes part in the Mardi Gras traditions every year. So the costuming seems awesome. Their music, as you can hear, is a lot of fun. And this song we're listening to is called My People from their 2021 album, also called My People.
My people, we've been left behind before. My people, devil's knocking on your door. My people, said so many care to go. My people, we still here, and one day we gon' all be in the same boat.
So I like that they have that mix of the New Orleans brass band, but then of course a lot of funk to that, some jazz and some soul. And they do a lot of songs that have a bit of a call and response and chants and things like that. They have these big energetic dance routines. So I think that is going to be a lot of fun to go watch, because some shows you sit down and you watch, and some shows you get up and you dance. And this one is one that I recommend you all check out and get up and dance.
Yeah.
So that is called Chawa.
I can't wait.
So who's your first pick?
So my first pick is an Indigenous artist called Aysanabee. They are a Canadian Indigenous artist who is making music about Indigenous culture. He's very inspired by his grandfather, and his debut album, Watin, was named after his grandfather and also features the voice of his grandfather. And you can really see his love of his ancestry and also just some beautiful music stylings. This song is called We Were Here, and it is from the album
We Were Here.
We were here in these fading memories, so we were here in these fleeting stories, so we were here. And these disappearing words, even when they start losing meaning. It's in my blood. It's in my blood. Oh.
That song's been on my rotation recently as well. The vocals in that one are just powerful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And like the music doesn't overpower, because usually if you get strong vocals you also get really strong music. And this is just like, it's such a good mix of everything.
That song's like, it's epic in scope.
It is.
Where do you want to watch this? What's your ideal folk fest for that? Because I was saying for Chawa, you're up there, you're dancing in the grass. What are you doing for this one?
I think this is like maybe Saturday afternoon, and you're having a beer and you're sitting in the grass and you're just like vibing with the sound.
Maybe some swaying with your arms around someone?
Yeah.
You're going to do some of that?
Yeah. And just like enjoying the like feeling of the festival.
Hopefully it's at sunset.
Hopefully.
It seems like a good sunset.
Yeah,
time.
you need like a dramatic backdrop for
Yeah.
this one, I think.
Well, next I'm going to stick with another party band, because this is a group that I want to see and dance to, and we get to go to those special secret after parties too, and I'm really hoping, actually Chawa as well, but I'm hoping this band will be there, and they are called Quita Peñas, which translates roughly to remove worries, and that's what they hope to do with their music. So as you can tell, it has a really positive, uplifting, fun, dancey vibe. But they still deal with some serious subjects in their lyrics as well. According to the band, they say that a lot of their music is kind of a remix of historical music and invites people to engage with history in kind of a new way. And they honor the liberation songs of countries like Angola, Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. And that's kind of their background, but then you hear it and you also still just want to get up and dance. So this song is called Papaya, and it just makes me want to dance.
Pajarito que se acerca, pajarito se le antoja. Pajarito que se acerca, pajarito se le antoja.
Don't you want to just get up and dance to this?
Yeah, that is one where you're at like one of the bigger side stages and everyone in the hill is just like jumping.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, a bunch of my picks are all performing at the same time, so we're going to have to get clever with our scheduling. But that was Quita Peñas and their song Papaya, and check them out at the Folk Fest.
Yeah, that seems like a really, really good time. And I really hope that they play one of the parties and we can
Oh, that'll be fun to
just
dance to.
dance like crazy.
All right, Sam, what do you got next?
So my second pick for the festival is the Brother Brothers. They are a set of identical twin brothers from Illinois. They put out their first album in 2018, and they do a mix of soulful harmonies and acoustic folk sounds. And they remind me a lot of the Milk Carton Kids, and just those incredible harmonies and lyrics and just the feeling of like the mixing of their two voices. So I wanted to play you On the Road from their 2021 album, Calla Lily.
Could it be, I'll never stand up taller? Could it be that nothing's gonna change when the muscles round my brain start to make me feel insane? I think it's time to get on the road again.
That sounds like another chill afternoon session.
Yeah, I think this is one where you're just going to be like transfixed with their voices, and you're just like, maybe you're laying in the grass staring at the clouds going by and
It seems like
listening to this one and just feeling it. Indy, what's your next pick?
My next pick is the musician Kimi Djabaté, who is from Tabato in Guinea-Bissau, which is a West African country. And the really interesting thing about his village, Tabato, is that it's known for its griots, which are hereditary singer-poets. So it's something that you pass on. So your father is one and your grandfather, and then you follow in this line of musicians, essentially, singer-poets. And they kind of tell the tales of history and legends, and they are an essential role in how oral history is passed down over the generations. So now he is based in Lisbon, Portugal, and he's collaborated with a lot of big-time artists, so he is getting more and more popular, and he is known for playing the kora, which is an African kind of like harp-like instrument. Ooh. And he sings as well. So this song is called Din Din from the album of the same name. Is Kimi Djabaté, and I think also music for a nice afternoon one.
Yeah.
Some of his other stuff is a little dancier than that, but that one's a little more relaxed, sitting in the grass music.
Yeah, I think we're eating lunch.
I could see that.
Eating lunch, just like feeling it, feel good.
Feeling it, feel good. That's what my t-shirt says.
Only the best grammar, and I love this. You should too.
This is good because I thought our picks would go along this way, of yours being a combination of bigger, well-known international acts as well as some less-known local or Canadian stuff.
Yeah.
And mine tends to be more international and varied.
Yeah, that's absolutely our music taste, just in general.
So what do you have next?
So my next one is one of the bigger international acts, and it is Fleet Foxes. So the Fleet Foxes came around in 2008, and they are a band, an American indie folk band from Seattle, and they use some really interesting instruments like woodwinds, violin, and saxophone, and they are definitely another kind of more harmonic sounding band with the vocal harmonies, and then also some really interesting lyricism and instrumentation. So we are going to listen to their song White Winter Hymnal, which I know that you've heard before, Andy.
I was following the pack, I was following their course with scarves of red tied round their throats to keep their little heads from falling in the snow. And I turned round and there you go, and Michael, you would fall and turn the white snow red.
that one, I can tell you what we will actually be doing. We will be cozied down in the dark with a candle on the hill, just enjoying the sounds before we go home and do it all again the next day.
I think Fleet Foxes are actually only one of 2 main stage acts that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
It seems this year the big acts aren't really things that I like, but of course, Fleet Foxes, I've been listening to them for a long time. I still own that CD somewhere in the basement.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just going to be a beautiful show. So, Indy, what's next?
So next up, I have an American gospel musical group called the Dedicated Men of Zion. So they sing some really powerful, soul-stirring stuff. And they're based out of North Carolina, and they are a gospel group at their base, but they also have a lot of contemporary influences like blues and soul and funk. And as soon as I was speaking, I realized when I say things are contemporary, I'm kind of referring to the 70s, but no, that's not when we live. But they're good at kind of combining all of that to give that spiritual music that I think a lot of us are familiar with a kind of modern take.
Lord, hold my hand while I run this race. Oh, Lord, hold my hand while I run this race. Hey, Lord, hold my hand while I run this race. Say, Lord, I don't want to bring down the money on. Hey,
So this song is called Lord Hold My Hand, and it's off of their album The Devil Don't Like It, which
Oh,
also
was-
is a great title for an album.
Yes. I think this one is a Sunday morning.
Oh, Sunday morning service.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but you know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling we had something like Fleet Foxes bringing it down over sunset, and then at night, I want something I want a spotlight, I want a pipe organ, and I want to get up and dance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like this could be that. And if not dance, at least we are going to sit down and we're going to clap and we're going to sway.
Yeah, lots of clapping.
And great vocalists, all of them. And you know I'm a sucker for a pipe organ. So check out the Dedicated Men of Zion.
I am so excited about them. I think
Also one of the best dressed bands.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, Chawa. You know what? All of the ones we've been talking about, lots of well-dressed acts.
Yes, absolutely. Good costuming from everybody who's going to be at the festival, I think.
All right, so do you have one more?
Yes.
There's one big name that I haven't heard of yet.
So the final one is probably arguably one of the biggest artists from my musical time is Feist, and she is a Canadian indie pop singer, songwriter, and guitarist, and she performs solo, and she is also part of the group Broken Social Scene. And I have seen Feist before at the festival at least once, if not twice. And Broken Social Scene was also at the festival once. So
I feel like you can't be anywhere near our ages in Edmonton and not have seen Broken Social Scene at least once.
oh, absolutely.
It's hard to... I don't think I've ever went out of my way to see them, but I think I've seen them 3 times.
Where did you see them?
Well, they used to be around university stuff all the time. When
Right.
I was going to say when they weren't that big, but I guess they're never big.
No.
But for Canadian universities, they were
They were
quite
big, yeah. They did the Canadian University tour.
Yeah.
So Feist is an artist who has been around since 1999. So we have heard a lot of her music. We've seen her get really, really big and then kind of fade back, but she just released a brand new album this year, and so I think she is back out touring to kind of promote that. So I want to play the song Hiding Out in the Open from the album Multitudes.
Hiding out in the open, maybe I'm gonna let you down. Nothing's gonna make us new. What's done is not gonna undo. Hiding out in the open, baby, he's gonna let me down. Love is not a thing you try to do. It wants to be the thing compelling you.
I don't know this song. Is this from the new album?
Yes, this is from her newest album, Multitudes. And I really like kind of the progression of her music. And this one just seems like a very mature, like beautifully written song.
And that classic haunting Feist vocals.
Yes, exactly. And you really get those in this song. So I think I'm really looking forward to seeing her on Thursday night and getting to just kind of like sway in the darkness with my family.
That sounds good. That would be the other main stage act
Yes.
that I'm excited for. The other ones, who knows? We might see all sorts of things and they might blow us away, but those were the two big main stage acts I was most excited for.
Yeah, one of the things that's beautiful about Folk Fest is you can just wander and sit at a stage and all of a sudden you have a new favorite band.
Or
And-
maybe you'll hear some podcasts and get some really good suggestions of what to go see.
Exactly. So I think relying on the lineup to be what you're excited about, I think half the magic is just discovering someone new. And then also going to some of the session stages, which is where there are multiple artists. And sometimes they all jam together and you get to hear music that like doesn't actually exist in the world other than in this moment at that
Those
stage.
are some of my very favorites, and it looks like some of those acts that I was talking about are going to get a chance to perform together.
Yes.
And when you get, I love the ones when you get people from just different sides of the world, but then they share something and you
Yes.
see that shared experience happening on stage in front of you.
And people start adding their instruments in and people start harmonizing and doing background vocals. And it's just like, it's such a beautiful process. And it's so cool to get to see people like that create.
It's an international jam band if you've
Yes.
ever been to one of these. It's just, they take 4 acts, maybe it's solo artists, maybe it's full bands. They put them on stage together and just see what happens, which is great.
Exactly. So at the very least, in some of those, you'll get to hear their big songs. At the best case scenario is they create some sort of new amalgamation of music.
And those are the best.
Yeah. So Indy, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, there's a few we don't really have time to talk about, but there is Vieux Farka Touré, who is the son of Ali Farka Touré, and he is a very famous musician from Mali, and now his son is following in those footsteps. Despite his father telling him, don't be a musician, he secretly took up the guitar and enrolled in an art school, and he plays this music that's kind of a mix of blues, traditional folk music from Mali, rock, reggae, and soul. There's the Secret Sisters. I think they are really good Sunday afternoon folk, and their album You Don't Owe Me Anymore is just a solid album, so go check that out and go check them out. There's 2 acts out of Australia, actually, that I'm excited to see. First are the Teskey Brothers, and they're a blues rock with some soul and gospel influenced. And then there's the Paper Kites, who are just some straight up indie rock, indie folk type stuff. And they're both out of Australia, 2 different sounds, but both things that I have only recently discovered and want to hear more from.
Awesome.
Who do you have for an honorable mention?
Yeah, so one thing I'm going to mention is the Folk Fest is in the River Valley of Edmonton, and the Folk Fest has always like really put an emphasis on the fact that they're traditional gathering places of Indigenous people, and so they have a bunch of Indigenous programming. I saw about 20 artists throughout the weekend will be performing and interacting with festival goers at Niga Moen, which in Cree means song. And they're kind of just bringing together some Indigenous people who can showcase their artistry and their traditional kind of art forms. I think it's a really great way to get Indigenous programming out there. And if you're looking for that and you're at Folk Fest, you can find it by the Family area.
Excellent. We're going to have to check that out,
Yes,
too.
absolutely. There were some very cool things like hoop dancers, some traditional singer-songwriters, probably some drumming, and I'm sure there'll be a teepee in there as well.
And in past years, I think it's the dancing that always stands out to me.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap up there. If you want to hear more of this music, we actually have a Spotify playlist that we've made of some of our picks, so you can check that out in the show notes. And if you see us around Folk Fest, come say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. No guarantee that we will be sober and ready to podcast. But
But we are going to try to be podcasting.
Yes.
Oh, actually, if you see us, maybe we'll just interview you and put it on this. That'd be fun.
maybe you can get a shout out. Send us a message. So you can send us messages on Twitter and Instagram at ILTYS and the number 2. You can email us at ilovethisyouShould2 at gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook at I Love This You Should To -podcast. And we love to hear from people. We would love to meet some of our listeners. That would be very cool. And we hope that you really enjoyed all of our recommendations and that you find something magical at the festival.
And if you're not going to be going, hopefully you can just check out these artists, because a lot of the ones we have featured are not especially well known or super rich or anything like that. So give them a listen, support the artists, and maybe buy some of their music. And if you are going to the festival, we'll see you on the hill.
We'll see you on the hill. Bye, everyone.